Greetings, YouTube. Today's video is kind of a response to one that I just saw from DEMCAD. You guys have heard me mention him before. I enjoy watching his videos. Today, I'm gonna take a little bit of an opposing view from what he had to say. His was titled, "Do you really need an assault rifle for SHTF for a shit hit the fan scenario?" And if you haven't seen his video, go check it out. He talks about, and this is no offense to you, brother. Talking to DEMCAD, but as preppers, we all need to exchange ideas. And I don't have all of the answers, and each of us we have our own individual belief systems when it comes to protecting ourselves. We each come with our own level of training, our own life experiences, our own situation in terms of where we live. All of that factors into what I'm saying here. And if you hear a beep in the background, that's because my Hot Pocket is ready in the microwave. But I'm going to go ahead and finish this video before I go eat that health food. They really are hot, aren't they? Burned the shit out of the top of my mouth last time I ate one. But back to the subject. A lot of preppers, a lot of people get into this. I'm right. I know everything. I'm the expert. For those of you that follow my channel, I'm retired LAPD. I'm a former paratrooper. I'm a firearms instructor, both for federal and for NRA. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm not an expert at anything. Anybody that thinks they're an expert at anything is probably dangerous. All of us have something to learn, always. And when I used to train young police officers right out of the academy, they would look at me as if I was some kind of god because I'd been around for 12 years or more. And I would always tell them before we left that, hey, look, I'm going to be looking to you to learn things too, because you've got new experiences and you're a different person, different thoughts, different ideas. Not to belabor the point, but all of us can learn. What I'm putting out here is my opinion, and you guys can take it or leave it. It's not meant to disrespect DEMCAD's view or to start some major debate on the issue. A discussion on the issue is a good thing to have. Okay, so moving right along. Do you need an assault rifle for a shit hit the fan scenario? His view, if I heard him correctly, was sort of he had heard different folks telling him, well, that's for long range stuff, and you're in an urban environment, so you don't really need to have long range stuff. What about over penetration? All of that's all legitimate and good things to think about. And he was going back and forth between having the Mossberg 500, which I've got a couple of them in the safe behind me. I love the shotgun, big fan of the shotgun. But I want to tell you that when it comes to any weapon that you choose, I want to address the thing that he talked about. He had mentioned a couple times in the video warning shots, and he appears to be a pretty good big believer in warning shots. And it said things that if he fired off a few rounds from his AK or whatever he was holding, that would likely disperse most crowds, most people. Man, I couldn't disagree more, and here's why. Number one, warning shots have proven, in most cases, to not be effective. Understand that I've actually used warning shots in a situation and it was effective. So, I mean, in a weird way, I'm contradicting reality, but I'm talking generally. I was faced with a crowd of about 50, 55 full-on gangbangers that were, over 20 of them were armed. They were on their way to do some drive-by. And I was completely outnumbered, and I let a few rounds fly up in the air from my 9mm, and that brought him down to the ground and I held him there till I had some backup. That's an unusual situation, and I don't recommend it. Especially in a shit hit the fan scenario, when you let rounds fly, you've already done one thing that's not good. Is now you're shorter on ammo than you were before you did that. Number two, contrary to the belief that a burst from a loud weapon is going to scare people away. If it's me and I'm the guy and somebody has my mindset, if I'm in the crowd and I hear somebody unload with an AK, that's my new target, because that's my number one threat. Now I know where the big gun is, and that's the guy I'm going to put down first. And I'm probably going to take that weapon too once I'm done, because in a shit hit the fan scenario, weapons are fair game, man. If you're putting somebody down, you take their shit. You give away the fact that you've got a superior weapon, you've wasted ammunition, and not everybody's going to be afraid of warning shots. LA riots 1992, I was in the thick of it. Some of the Koreans did that, the store owners, and it drew fire on to their position, and a lot of them lost their lives, more than a few. So make your own decisions, but I'm recommending that you don't do the warning shot thing. As far as having, an assault rifle, do you need one? Hell yeah, you need one. You cannot underestimate the effectiveness of an assault rifle for a lot of reasons. Body armor is pretty common these days, not just with law enforcement. A lot of people that are savvy and have the money in a situation where they're going to be going tactical or into a armed encounters are going to be wearing body armor. And if DEMCAD had mentioned the effectiveness of birdshot or shooting people in the leg. Listen, I'm just going to be blunt here. No offense intended. Any human being that talks about shooting people in the leg or shooting a knife out of their hand or shooting them in the arm to wound them, anyone that talks to you about that has never been enough shooting. And I stand by that 100%. I'm a firearms expert. See, I almost screwed up there. I'm a firearms instructor, not an expert. That was a Freudian slip. I'm a very good shot, and I've been in gunfights before, and I'm telling you, man, sadly, I set a record that I'm not proud of once in my department, back when I was a cop, being the first guy with a 9mm to shoot and keep shooting, have to reload before I hit the target. Shooting at the range and shooting when you've got adrenaline flowing through your body and shooting when rounds are flying towards you is an entirely different concept. And the fact that somebody's been in that situation and maybe you haven't doesn't make them better. It just means you need to listen to those people, because it is all, we all train. Anybody that trains properly trains to shoot center mass. And the reason we do that is we're not shooting to kill. We're shooting to stop the threat. A whole nother video. But it's also because that's the biggest target. All right? 2 to the chest. If that doesn't work, 1 to the head, failure drill, all of that shit we can get into in some other video. But shooting the leg of an adversary who, theoretically the reason you're shooting at them, hopefully, is because they're posing a imminent threat of great bodily injury or death. Yeah? So that's why you're in this gunfight. So if somebody has done something that's caused you to resort to lethal force, use it properly and aim for center mass. You shoot until the threat is gone, until the threat is no longer there. Okay? So that whole thing, if you want to attempt to be a humane person and shoot people in the ankle with birdshot to warn them off, I don't think you'll survive too long, to be honest with you. I've seen bad guys that were hit fatally, that were absolutely going to die no matter what. If they were on an operating room table, they were going to die, and they still went on to frickin' kill people and put lead downrange because they had the proper mindset. You understand? People don't react the way you would react. A lot of times a reasonable person thinks, well, I would do this and I would do that. Somebody coming into your property to kill you and rape your wife and steal your shit, those people aren't you. They're not reasonable people because you're not going out there committing those kind of crimes. So these people have a different mindset. They may be hopped up on drugs, alcohol and drugs and adrenaline. This is all stuff that, I don't want to waste the next 6 hours going into. You're going to have to, oh gosh, what's the word? Stipulate. You're going to stipulate to the training and to the experiences of countless of soldiers and law enforcement folks and people that have been in gunfights, and just accept the fact that the stuff you see on TV is fake. It's entertainment. People don't drop like flies when you shoot them. Now, is that a rule, hard fast rule? No. Like, shoot a guy in the head, he'll drop. Most times. There's always a few guys that get hit right in the freaking head, right between the eyes, and doesn't phase them. Doesn't phase them at all. As the bullet ricochets around the skull and comes out the back, and those guys that act like nothing ever happened to them. So people are dangerous. You factor in hunger, the opportunists that are out there because there's no more law, in this situation that we're talking about. Adrenaline, drugs, alcohol, anger, whatever, jealousy, those are all things that drive a human being to do things. Those of us that are, on the right side of the law of humanity are going to behave properly, whether there's rule of law or not. It's rule of right and wrong. So I'm talking to the people that are going to be protecting themselves. You look at, in my situation, if you look at my videos, yeah, I am fully prepared and still preparing to stand on my own and be able to protect what I have and the people around me. But I'm not an attacker. I'm not talking about going out as an assault force. I don't want to fight my government, and I don't want to fight the group of the people, in the next town. I'm not going to go invade their town and take with my whole philosophy about prepping for a shit hit the fan scenario is maintaining my lifestyle, what I have, and protecting it. And it doesn't matter whether we're in a shit hit the fan scenario or somebody kicks down my front door right this second.
You get the hell out of here! Get off my property and stay away from my water, you rat bastards!
Because all of that is possible. These things happen. So you maintain the right mindset, the right tools, the right training. You have it established in your head now, right now, what line has to be crossed for you to resort to deadly force. You understand the ramifications of it. DEMCAD talked about, well, I'm not going to be worried about the law and everything. And I've gotten into some debates with some folks about this. There's different levels of shit hit the fan and the end of the world as we know it and all that. A 2 or 3 week LA riot type scenario that is on a national level where everybody's raping and pillaging and burning and the law enforcement folks can't come to your aid, but eventually will be restored. That's a different scenario. You don't want to have killed 13 people and just thrown their bodies into the woods, in my opinion. And then, 6 months later, you're hauled off and frickin' put in jail because everything returned to normal. And it turns out that you're, like these cops in New Orleans that shot somebody on the bridge there, and now they're going to prison. Ultimately, you're going to have to answer for your actions, and you need to act accordingly. I just posted a video, go check it out, talking about, it's called What Do We Do With the Bodies? SHFT, what do we do with the bodies? And, I got a little bit of pushback on that from people saying, hey, fuck that, man, I'm not going to take evidence and blah, blah, blah. My belief is, you think about hygiene, think about health, bury the bodies, record what happened, on March 5th, while freaking digging in my garden, I was assaulted by a carload of unknown number of suspects who fired multiple shots in my direction. I responded accordingly. I ended up with 3 dead guys. I buried them in this location. These are your notes. This is the stuff I took from them, their identification, Ziploc bag, bury that, hide it, whatever. Now, if the government that restores itself is a fucked up government and a tyrannical government, then you don't go down to the fucking local Gestapo station and say, hey man, 6 months ago I killed 3 guys. Fuck no. I'm talking about if we get the right one, the government that respects the Constitution, the way it should be. But we all know right and wrong, okay? And, if we've got United Nations troops walking, roaming through the hood shooting at us, or we got contractors for the government shooting at us, or we got the government military shooting at us, then things have gone sideways, and we're not following the Constitution. If we were following the Constitution, there wouldn't be people getting loaded up and taken off into fucking in trucks to concentration camps, and there wouldn't be a collection of weapons. Fuck that. We are, I'm talking about sticking to the Constitution of the United States. If we are restored to the way things should be, then it's my belief that you need to, at some point, be able to articulate what you did and why you did it, and this is what happened, and this is, these are the people that paid for fucking with me, trying to hurt me. Because, like I said, you don't want to spend the next 30 years looking over your shoulder waiting for that DNA thing to come back off of that evidence that somebody found when a dog dug up the body that you slaughtered. And, you're 70 years old going to prison for some bullshit you did because you can't articulate it. So make your decisions now. You don't have to follow my beliefs, but think these things through now. Know what you're going to do. Are you going to leave dead freaking bloating bodies in your driveway? Go watch my video and listen to how I talk about that. That's a morale killer. It's also a fucking health hazard. So these are the days that we are in relative peace, man. This is the time at any moment this internet could be completely shut off. Somebody can press a button. So now's the time you need to be studying this stuff, watching these videos, and at the end of the day, you got to make your own opinions, draw your own conclusions, and God bless you, DEMCAD, for putting these videos out. You're a good guy. You put out good information. You're putting out the best information you have. Not everybody's going to agree with you. Not everybody agrees with me. Let's keep this discussion going, because the bottom line is the majority of people watching these videos are good Americans that want to hold on to the Constitution, want to abide by the Constitution. Whether or not there are courts of law or law enforcement, we want to do the right thing, like they did back in the old days in this country. People would ride through and have a lame horse. Some farmer would loan him a horse, and the guy'd say, "I'll get you back next year." And sure as shit, a year later, this fucking guy'd be coming back with another horse, all on a handshake. Okay, we didn't need courts and shit, to make that happen, and lawyers. So, you don't need laws to tell you that it's okay to protect yourself. Okay? God has given you the right to protect yourself. He gave you the brain to make the decision, to learn how to use the tools, the weapons. And I probably drifted way off topic, but I will, coming full circle, tell you that I am pro assault rifle when it comes to protecting myself, because I can whack you whether you're 4 feet away or 400 yards away from me. It doesn't matter. If my bullet goes through your ass and goes across the street and hits an innocent person, that's a bitch, and I'm sorry. But, I don't want to sound cold-hearted, but that is not a factor or a possibility that's going to stop me from having the proper weapon and force me to carry a shotgun with birdshot. I've been shot in the head with birdshot, and all that does is piss you off, believe me. I'm still here, so, if you're loading your fucking shotgun with birdshot in a survival situation, you better be hunting birds, and you better have another weapon with you for when somebody wants to come and take what you got. Hey, let's have some conversation about it. Leave your comments. Thanks for watching LMS Tactical, and I am out of here. Stay alert, stay alive.